So today I was going to talk a little bit more about detoxing from Adderall. And I'd like to prefix this, of course, saying that this is all my own opinion and that I'm not a doctor, but I am somebody that had suffered from Adderall addiction and I detox off of it. Now everybody's going to be different, right? It depends on the length of how long you took Adderall and the amount you took. To tell you how much I took a lot. I was being prescribed 20 milligrams 3 times a day, which in itself is a lot, but that wasn't what I was taking. I was taking a lot more. I mean, I took Adderall for 10 years, and I stopped taking Adderall 7 years ago. So this was 17 years ago when I started, and I did many things to get Adderall. Doctor shopped, bought my friends' prescriptions, bought them off the streets. I did it all. So, of course, it didn't start off where I was taking up to, I would take 3 30s in one shot. Like, I took a lot. I was an Adderall junkie. But at the beginning, I never didn't I always mishandled my Adderall prescription. I never took it as the doctor said. I found that hilarious because when I grew up, down in South Florida. Not that that means anything, but if you're from there, you might understand. We start really, really young with partying and drugs. So in college, I did a lot of cocaine. And when I got out of college and I started, my real job, they would do drug tests. So I couldn't do cocaine anymore. I didn't really want to do cocaine anymore. But I found Adderall, and I think Adderall is better than cocaine. Because on cocaine, you kind of have to drink too, and there's this crash. And on Adderall, it's like all day focused. You feel so focused and awake and great, and everything is great until you don't. Remember, that's why you had to stop Adderall, because it doesn't respond to you how it used to, or you don't respond to it how you used to. Because it's easy for me to sit here and say how great Adderall was, but it wasn't after a little while. That's why I had to stop. I stopped because, one, it sucks having to be on a prescription to get out of bed. So you have to depend on doctors that can cut you off like this, especially now. But also, you don't want to depend on something to get out of bed. You want to be able to function without a pill. People say they want to get off caffeine. They want to stop drinking coffee. Well, that's easy enough as just going to the store and buying it. Imagine having to get a prescription and going through all of this to get something that you can't function without. Those are prescription pills, guys. So before you are so easily to take one from some online doctor, because they're all over the place now, before you start taking these pills, please remember that they are addicting. Okay, I'm gonna get off that rant. Let's say you are addicted and now you want to get off of them, or you've just been taking them too long and you feel like you can't function without them. So yeah, there's definite ways that will help you get more clear-minded, but like I've said in other videos, it does not come overnight. That's the most important thing that you have to remember. Taking Adderall, you get immediate gratification. Like within 10 minutes, all of a sudden, pop, you feel different. You're not gonna get that. Your body doesn't act like that. Your body, responds to Adderall, and it produces more endorphins, and it shuts off the receptors, so they're hanging out in your brain longer, and so you get immediate. And so we love that, especially having ADD. Oh my goodness, we want things done now, yesterday. And this detoxing is not going to happen like that. So you really have to just try and become okay with the process. Be okay with where you are. And if that means that you have to get a new job because your job is too demanding, then that's what you might have to do. I'm not saying just quit your job and now you can't work and you can't, have anything anymore, but like you really got to think about, is it too demanding for where you are right now? My job was way too demanding. So I had a whole new change in life. So when I got off Adderall, I had a real, I like to say, come to Jesus moment where I'm not going to get so into my story, but I very much had like a psychotic break. And guys, I am not bipolar. I am not, what is the other, where you see things, or I don't have those problems, but I sure did when I was taking all that Adderall. I think it was a mixture of, taking so much Adderall and then also not sleeping like you're supposed to. But I had like a psychotic break and I was like, I'm done. I can't take this anymore. My body's not responding anymore. So I had to go to a behavioral health where they kind of like have you medically detox for 3 days, 72 hours. They always have a doctor on site. So you're medically detoxing. I did that for 3 days. Then I went to a 30-day program. Then I went to a 14-day program, all inpatient. And then I lived with my aunt for like 4 months. And then I relapsed. I found a way to get Adderall again. And I relapsed for a week or two. And then I went ahead and I checked into another inpatient for 3 weeks. And that's the one that got me. That's the one that really kind of clicked. And I found good tools to figure out how to live life without Adderall. So it took a long time right there. I had about 6 months, and then that's when I would really say after my third inpatient, in that last little douse, my third inpatient, that's when I really that's when I started my 7 year. So, and it took a good year after that. So it took me a while because I really abused Adderall, like really abused it. So if you are taking 220s and you've been doing that for 3 years, you're probably not going to have nearly as rough time as I did. Like I really abused Adderall for, I would say, at least 7 years out of the 10, I really was abusing it. But so that's good news for you, right? Bad news for me, but good news for you. So, but when you are detoxing off of it, I promise you it is very, very important for you to at least talk to your doctor about it. I know that it might be scary to talk to your doctor about it, especially the one prescribing it to you. So maybe if you want to talk to a different doctor, but if the doctor that's prescribing it to you, if you go to them and tell them that you have a problem with it and that you want to detox off of it, they won't write you the prescription anymore. And I know that's scary. I've been there too. You don't want to tell the doctor that because he or she's going to stop writing you the prescriptions. So it's important that you do. You either talk to them or you talk to another therapist or somebody so they can really help you assess where you're at and what you need to do. Maybe you can taper off. That would be great if you could. I had zero control when it came to Adderall. If there was a bottle in my cabinet, I would take as many and as often as I wanted with no control. So if you can control it and start taking less and less and less, then that would really cut your symptoms down a lot. But you're going to have the symptoms of, the worst symptom that I think everyone faces when they stop Adderall is the symptom you were facing while you started Adderall. You feel super heavy, not kind of like right here hurts, like the top of your brain like isn't working right. You always feel like it's a cloudy day. Like I thrive when it's sunny out. Like I feel like I feel like a flower or something, you know, like they bloom in the sunshine, and then when it's rainy, I'm like, you always feel like it's rainy. I feel like you have 10 pounds on each of your legs. Everything is heavier. That is a normal feeling of when you're detoxing off Adderall, and when you're really after the detoxing process, when you're just trying to well, what's the proper word? It's not detoxing anymore. It's when you're in, you know, rehab, or when you're just trying to live without it, learning how to live without it. So this is how you felt before, but not really quite to the extreme. I always kind of wrestled in my head. Is it because I now know what it's like to think so clear and focused, so that it seems even worse what I felt before? Or was it worse actually than before I started taking Adderall? I think it's a little bit of both, but I definitely think that it's worse because your brain needs to learn how to work on its own again. So you already had a little bit of a sluggish brain, like maybe it wasn't quite so like quick on, you know, thinking fast, everything organized, just we never had that brain anyways. So then you take Adderall, and then you have that brain, and then you have to stop taking Adderall, and you have your other brain again, but even like slower, because now it's trying to learn how to make it all on its own all again. So you have to be very patient with your brain. You have to be very patient with your body, and you have to nourish your body and your soul and every single part of you. You have to forgive yourself for what you've put yourself through, and you have to forgive yourself for where you're at right now. This is the hard part, because now you're facing what you could have done without taking Adderall. You could have taught yourself how to manage your ADD symptoms without medicating, but you didn't, and now you have to. And plus, on top of that, you have this like brain static. So, crash course, you need to sleep. You need to sleep at least 8 hours a night. At least 8 hours a night. Good, solid sleep. 2, you need to drink. You need to drink lots of water. 3, your nutrition. I'm talking about what you eat. So important. This is something that I had a lot of problems doing, because when you're taking Adderall, you don't really feel what nutrition does to you. If you eat sugar first thing in the morning, you're still going to be like zoom, zoom, zoom all day long. But now if I was to eat sugar first thing in the morning, oh my goodness, I may as well just go back to sleep for a couple hours and start all over again, because I'm kind of like this all day long. And who wants that? We don't want that. We want to be solid. Exercise, of course, and meditation really helps also. So all those things help, because you're just going to have to give yourself the time it needs. You're going to have to love your body, and you're going to have to love your brain, and be okay with where you're at. Listen, nobody needs you at 120%, right? 50%, 80%, you know? Like 120%, you're like all over the place. Do this, do this, do this, do this. It's almost like a lot. It's a lot. So be okay with not being there right now. Give yourself the time, the nourishment, and the love that your body deserves, because you've put yourself through a lot. You've put so much extra pressure on yourself. Just give your body the space and time it needs. I promise you, it will go back to where it was, and better, because you'll start teaching and learning coping and strategies to really improve your ADD symptoms with the nourishment of a good nutrition, exercising, sleeping, plenty of water, and meditating. Really does help. All those do really help. And talk about it. You could talk here about what's going on. Leave messages below. Listen, I was so ashamed of being addicted to Adderall, and I'm not anymore, because it's something that I was. Whatever. We all have things in life that we encounter, and it doesn't matter what you've done. It matters how you get back up. That is so important. And you have to just start. You just got to start somewhere, and just love yourself. It's all you got is yourself. Love it. Love your body. Love your brain. Slow, unorganized, tired, whatever it is, it's yours. And love that. I'm proud of you. You should be proud of you. And hey, if you have any input, if you found a magic trick that might help anybody that watches this video, please leave it below, because that's why I'm making this video. I'm making it for everybody to kind of see, maybe I'm not sleeping enough. Maybe I'm not eating properly. Maybe I can use those tools. So if you have something that might help, please leave it below. Okay, I've spoken enough. My name is Lauren. Thanks for watching this. I wish all the success of being clean and sober and happiness. I wish it for you all. See you next time.